Barca plot Griezmann exit, Pogba wants Juve return, West Ham stunned Chelsea, a transfer roundup, and today's Thursday favourites all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. First up, and apparently Barcelona are planning the exit of Antoine Griezmann just 1 year after joining the club for a ridiculous amount of money. That is, well, it's looking kind of likely because Quique Setien definitely isn't a fan of the striker. So on Tuesday night, when Barcelona desperately needed the win to keep their hopes of another La Liga title alive, well, with 2 minutes to go, Antoine Griezmann came on and couldn't really do much. Quique Setien afterwards said he feels for him, but he's not going to apologise. Obviously, there's a definite rift in the squad and things aren't quite right. After that, it looks almost bewildering to think that Griezmann could go on to be the star man at Barcelona, and even if they don't sell him, it looks like they may be loaning him out. We've seen in the last week or so that the Arthur Pjanic deal is a pretty good swap deal, well, certainly for Juventus, but it looks like more of those deals could be done, and this could be benefiting two potential suitors. The first one being Inter Milan. In fact, it looks like Barcelona may be going back to Serie A after all. Anyway, they have Lautaro Martinez, who has definitely been identified as a key target for Barcelona. So what they'd be doing is basically the opposite of the Arthur Pjanic deal. Instead of getting rid of a young player for an old player, they'll be getting rid of not an old player, Griezmann's only 28, 29, but for a young talent in Lautaro Martinez. The thing is, this will probably be a loan to start off with because then they'll have an option to buy and then they can offset loads of money that they spend under the financial fair play regulations for next summer. It'll get complicated, but basically I think this one has a pretty good chance of going through. As I said before, it's no secret that Barcelona are a big fan of Martinez, and with the way that Antonio Conte is going, he'll probably take Griezmann in and him and Lukaku up front, turn him into like a 25-goal a season striker. That's what he was doing the whole time at Atletico Madrid, so it's really amazing to see such a downturn in form in just one season. A season in which he's made 32 La Liga appearances and scored just 8 goals with just 4 assists on the side. The other team that could benefit though is Arsenal, and this one is a little bit more interesting because it would probably mean that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang moves to Barcelona on a full-time basis. That is because despite the fact he's smiling, despite the fact he's banging in the goals on the pitch and Arteta says he's happy, he still has 1 season left in his contract and hasn't signed a new deal as of yet. This is obviously another old player that Barcelona are going to be taking in, but if you consider the fact they're probably getting for absolutely nothing, especially if they're giving Griezmann in return, it probably makes the deal worthwhile. Moving on though, and apparently Paul Pogba dreams a return to Juventus. That is according to Paulo Dybala, who mentioned it on a Twitch stream last night. That's right, we're getting our news from Twitch these days. Anyway, he said that a former teammate of his, they played together at Juventus a few years ago, had a desire to return to the club. But for me, I just can't see it. Personally, I think that things at Manchester United are going well. In fact, they're going a darn sight better than they were this time last year. And it's all down to the club putting faith in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and buying the right players. This, for me, is exactly the kind of ambition that they're going to need to show to Pogba. They'll sit him down and be like, Paul, we've brought in Bruno Fernandes. He's brilliant. You love playing with him. I know you do. Bring in another defender. We'll sign Jadon Sancho. We will challenge for titles, for Premier Leagues in the next few years. They need to show this ambition to convince Pogba to stay. Because if he wants to go, there's no way he's going to have a shortage of suitors. I mean, Juventus and Real Madrid seem like the two front runners for the Frenchman's signature. But as I mentioned before, if United actually put their money where their mouth is and make some right decisions, they'll probably convince Pogba to stay. It's the kind of thing where when he's on form and when he's got a brilliant team around him, you've seen what he can do. The World Cup need be the best example of that, with France winning 2018. Pogba can be a world-class talent, and it's no surprise that the likes of Dybala probably want him to return Juventus to play alongside him. But moving away from the transfers for just a second, to last night action where in the Premier League the race for the European spots is heating up. Earlier on in the evening, Leicester lost 2-1 to Everton, who not only put their name in the hat for Europa League place, but also left Leicester in a precarious position that their third place holding in the Premier League could be wiped out after a very poor return to form after the restart. But Chelsea weren't able to take advantage. They've been in great form recently, but a late Andrei Yarmolenko goal saw David Moyes' side, West Ham, win 3-2 in the London derby, an insane game. I mean, the most insane thing was a VAR decision which actually ruled out one of West Ham's goals in the first half. Thomas Souček scored, but because I think Mikel Antonio was lying on the floor and blocking Kepa's vision, the goal was disallowed. My head says yes, that makes sense, he's offside, VAR, but my heart says come on. This is just ruining the game a little bit. Anyway, back to the rest of the evening, and because of this, it means that the pack is all a little bit closer. It means that Manchester United's win at Brighton looks all the more impressive. It means Arsenal thumping Norwich 4-0, which saw Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang be the fastest Arsenal player to reach 50 Premier League goals in just 79 games. It means that they're looking a little bit more comfortable, and tonight everything turns to Tottenham against Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. Now, both of them have been not exactly thrilling since the restart. Maybe Sheffield United a little bit worse, but the game is up for grabs. If either side can get 3 points, they throw themselves right back into the mix. As well as this, though, Bournemouth were plunged into further relegation troubles as Newcastle, a re-inspired Newcastle, maybe with the players playing for their place for fear of being, well, replaced by a brand new big money signing after their takeover, won 4-1 at the Vitality Stadium. So next up, in a quick transfer roundup of the other news that you might have missed, and Monaco are interested in Spurs' current defender Serge Aurier and want to bring him to the club. Pep Guardiola has said that it would make no sense for Jadon Sancho to rejoin Manchester City and has rubbished the rumours. David Luiz has been charged with talking to Thiago Silva and trying to convince him to join him at Arsenal. And lastly but not least, some terrible news for Wigan in League One, who have gone into administration after the financial impacts of COVID-19. So next up, and we come to Thursday favourites. This is where you guys asked me 5 of my favourites in football, and this week's comes from Niklas34, who has asked, Matt, who are your 5 favourite German players in football? Well, this is going to be a tough one because there are so many good players, but I'm starting off with Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Now, I didn't put Neuer in this list because I just thought 2 goalkeepers would be a bit boring. Sorry, guys. But ter Stegen is an unbelievable keeper and an unbelievable footballer as well. And I really feel like he's underappreciated with the German national side. Neuer is obviously an unbelievable goalkeeper as well, but I really think ter Stegen could be the future. Anyway, I say the future, he's already like 27 or 28. Ter Stegen is number 5 on this list. Into number 4, and it's Timo Werner. Now, despite the fact I'm a little gutted he's joined Chelsea, one of Spurs' major rivals, he's still an unbelievable player to watch. He's quick, he's energetic, he's brilliant in front of goal, and you can't really help but like someone who finds the net so consistently. He's been brilliant for Leipzig, and I really think Chelsea have got an unbelievable deal in bringing him in. Number 3, and it's Kai Havertz, and my word, if you haven't seen him already, you must watch this player. No wonder that Real Madrid, Liverpool, Manchester United, every name under the sun, Chelsea as well, Juventus are all interested in the Leverkusen midfielder because he carries the ball from midfield with excellent skill, with excellent poise, balance and grace, a brilliant passer. And then when he gets to the box, he's got the finishing of a striker. In fact, when the Bundesliga returned, Havertz was playing as a striker for Leverkusen. And I think behind Lewandowski and Andre Silva was the 3rd highest goal-scoring player on the return to league action. Number 2, and Toni Kroos. In fact, the only player who came out of that disastrous German World Cup campaign 2018 with any sort of credit. And he's just a fantastic footballer. I mean, he literally has won it all. I think the fact that his personality is not quite an outward person, certainly towards the media, may not really help his cause for being named as one of the greatest midfielders of all time because he doesn't really stick out in your memory. But he's definitely got to be up there in the conversation. I mean, you watch him pass the ball, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal the way he shoots, the way he passes, the way he dribbles. His technique is insane. For me, he's up there with the best passers ever. The likes like Gerrard, Pirlo, Xavi Alonso, unbelievable. Anyway, he's number 2. And number 1, and my favourite German player at the moment is Joshua Kimmich, a delight to watch. For me, future Bayern captain, future German captain, sensational in midfield and defence. He's got it all. He's got brilliant technical ability, plays with the mental maturity of someone far more older than he actually is. There's just nothing he can't do. Like, he's a typical German player. For me, he's like a mix between Lahm and Ballack. He's just got absolutely everything, and it really, really is a joy to watch on the field. So there you have it, my 5 favourite German players at the moment. But you guys let me know yours in the comment section below and your thoughts on the rest of today's daily news. Whilst you're at it, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.